Hi, family. Get in here, y'all. I'm going to talk to you guys about some stuff. We're going to finally talk about polygyny. Yes, one time, this video is it, okay? So I'm going to give y'all a second. Come on in. Everybody join me, okay? And we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of polygyny. Peace, family. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, we're about to talk about it. All the questions y'all got, get them ready to put them in the comments. Let me know. Everybody can hear me okay? I do not own the rights to anything you hear in the background. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Peace. We're going to talk about polygyny. Do you guys even know what polygyny is? Right? There's a difference between polygamy, polygyny, polyandry, polymorous. All things poly means many. Poly means many. Poly means many, y'all. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Wherever you're watching this, I just want to share my perspectives on polygyny. Pros, cons, what it is, why it is for me, how it's relevant to 2021. That's the year we're in at the moment. So I'm gonna start off with some of the benefits. First, I'm gonna talk about what is it, okay? Polygyny is one God, one king, and many wives, or sister wives, if you will. That's where that term comes from. The other thing to understand the difference is polyandry is one goddess, one queen, and many brother husbands. Okay, yeah. That's what they would be called. So basically, right, we have the foundations that kind of come from our indigenous heritage and cultures, to build communities, to have many families live together, or to have single mothered families not be left alone, and vice versa. If there was a shortage of women, that would be the time where polyandry would be relevant. Okay, so I'm going to talk about polygyny today. So this should be of interest to the men that are interested in living in their truth of the fact that they're not monogamous. Just take a pause for that to sink in. That might have been a harsh truth for some of our women. So this is also a space for you ladies to learn about this dynamic of relationship and why it actually is designed to serve you at its highest. This is not about simply sharing your man. That concept, even when we say that, adds an aspect of ownership, which is not African-centered, which is not indigenous. And so I really don't participate in anything ideology-wise that isn't in the foundation of that. I can't say in my everyday life, because why? I am stuck here in America like y'all. I'm stuck in the same systems and programs that have been forced upon me as well. I have just learned through them, learned better, and tried to operate accordingly and share along the way. So I haven't made it or arrived to anything. I just operate in awareness. And when I get new information, I share it. And not only that, but I also allow myself space and room to change my perspectives and ideas as new information comes in. That I like to call growth. Okay, so having said all that, with growth, here's what I want to share with you. Relationships need growth. And what do I mean? At a collective society, we've watched, and I'm really primarily talking to Black people, okay? Now, this is impactful for everybody, right? And this is relevant to any color, any race. But I want to clarify that I am objectively, very specifically directing this to African-centered or melanated beings that desire to live more indigenously or more in alignment with their true nature. And that's a DNA statement. That's like, you want to live according to your DNA. And I'm specifying that. So this isn't to exclude anybody. This knowledge and information is for everybody, but I am letting you know that in consideration of the comments and things said going forward, it will be primarily for the melanated being. Okay, because this is what primarily works for us. If you're not of, that culture or heritage, you can find benefit from this video. However, it may not be natural to your DNA or makeup. So what's good for one may not be good for all. Okay? Or we wouldn't have uniqueness and difference. And we have to acknowledge that. So part of that understanding, now that you know what the difference is between polygyny, polyandry, anything that's many is poly, okay? And so all the other dynamics, whether that be like 2 guys, 2 girls, 15 people all together, all of those are poly. So that's the big umbrella of a polygamous relationship. Incorporates polygyny, polyandry, polymorous. It incorporates everything under gay relationships. Any dynamic outside of straight monogamy is polygamous, okay? Now there's more breakdowns for like couples that may be same sex. Obviously that's monogamy. However, that would take me into a discussion about serial monogamy, which is the fact that we will all break up with one another and move on to someone else if needs are not met or something changes, growth, whatever. People move, different things, right? So when we switch to another, get down, close the door, please. What are you doing up here? Huh? Go downstairs, please. Close the door. You can't reach it? It's okay. There you go. You got it. Close the door. There's a radar that lets my son know that I'm on live. Anyway, we're going to continue. He shouldn't be in trouble. He's fine. He's fine. Basically, yeah. So, continuing on. This 2021, and we've seen a lot, we've been through a lot when it comes to relationships, y'all. So really, I'm just here to like not just bring you old ancient information and say like, oh, this is how our indigenous people did it, blah blah blah, because what works for them may not all the way work for us. However, it's important to gather and glean what did work, where things went wrong, and what's not working now. And so simply living in today, you see what's not working now. Monogamous relationships are not working. Polygamous relationships are not working. What's not working? Relationships in a whole. Relationships as a whole are not working. So let's talk a little bit about the things we need in a relationship and why or why not polygyny is good for right now for us, okay? And I'm not going to make the statement about there being so many more women than men, because I truly believe, based on universal law, that like if you truly want to be monogamous, there's enough men and women to have one-on-one relationships. There just is, okay? So this is not a push to say, oh, you can't find your own man. No. If you want your own man, you can find your own man. However, in our community, specifically, as strong as our Black women are, we want particular men. We want alpha men. And one thing I don't hear too often or discussed is, okay, we know we want an alpha male, but then you find the alpha male. What does that alpha male want? We don't get into that. We don't anymore get into sacred sister circles and discuss preparation for the king. We don't initiate women into womanhood anymore. Okay, so this is why I talk about indigenous culture, because these are some of the things that were lost that would serve us today. Okay, because it's not enough to know what kind of man you want. Serendipity, I'm going to have you go back a little bit at the beginning of this video because I completely broke down the difference of all the different structures. So I know people are jumping on and they're probably going to like not know the difference, but polygyny, I'm going to restate it, is one man and several women. And so Yep, so that's polyandry. Thank you guys for those participating in the comments. Catch each other up. We're going to have new people jumping on, so I want to try to keep us progressing forward. But I see your comments. I don't want to ignore them and acknowledge them and let you know that I did address that question. So stick around because it'll come back up. So in this day and age, we got a whole bunch of relationship problems in general. And then as Black women, we're just goddesses all together, right? So we have character traits and things that we desire out of a mate, out of a partner, right? And they're not that easy to find. Why? Because society has a very intentional way of fostering the opposite type of male. In fact, there's a huge effort on the planet because of DNA to actually okay, Ebony, thank you so much for answering some of the questions while I'm talking. I appreciate that. Basically, yeah. And thank you. Just to mention, jumping in and just helping is just a way of serving, and we appreciate it. So, because everybody wants this info, I've been long awaiting this video. So I'm here to cover all the info, and I want to cover all y'all's questions as well. But we're going to keep it going, and then I'll save time at the very end to answer questions directly. So yeah, we have particular things as Black women that we want out of relationships, and those things can vary. And not only do they vary, but they may not be always the same things, and it may change, and it may it's not always you don't know everything right now. You may get into something and realize okay, you want this from a partner, or you need this, or you grow. And so there's a missing piece of teaching us what is realism in a relationship. What is realistic? What can we expect, and what should you expect, and should expectations even be there? We're not there. The word standards and expectation are different for a reason. Okay, so boundaries, standards, and expectations are all different. They all have a different effect. Okay, the law of cause and effect. If you guys have followed me for a while, I teach a lot from the universal laws. So the universal laws should also govern how you think about engaging in relationships, because they're going to be true no matter what. Okay, at any dynamic of relationship. And so the first thing I want to say is that the cons that you may come to mind about polygyny are the same cons in monogamy and polyandry, even polygamous. Okay, I'll get into later why polyandry is not gonna work at all for today. We've already had socially programmed men. Okay, so dealing with the men we're dealing with today who are not monogamous, whether they say they are or not, society has conditioned them to function in a particular way about their non-monogamy DNA. Okay, now I might even go as far as saying DNA wise, just as human nature, none of us are really monogamous, because even women without the right conditions, will find another mate. I'm talking about in nature. If we could look at males and females in many different species, many different animals, and this is true across males and females. So when we're talking about relationship dynamics and human nature, that is something needing to be discussed, acknowledged, and on the table as normal. Because we're creating misconceptions for people. So when they enter into a relationship, they have unrealistic expectations outside of people's true nature. So polygyny is something that also fosters alongside of our true nature. Because a woman will stay with one man if he protects and provides. And we'll break down what protect and provide means and looks like in 2021. Okay? But and can mate for life, okay, and be content with that mating. Whereas a male is lifelong achievement, lifelong legacy, lifelong building of spreading of seeds. His innate nature is to procreate in a way that elongates his wisdom. That sounded good. But yeah, that's a whole different drive than the woman to nurture and maintain what she's created and continue it. Like, it needs to be its healthiest. Whatever she creates, she wants to keep nurturing it. Where the male wants to do the growth part. That's the yang energy, the placing of the seeds. And so just there's another concept in universal laws, yin and yang. Studying the dynamics will help you understand the true nature of women and men, female, male, and feminine energy and masculine energy. Okay? So if you're just jumping in, thank you for joining me. This video is about polygyny, okay? Which is one male and several sister wives. So I want to get into now the benefits of polygyny a little bit with you guys. As a mother, as a want to be a mother in the future, I will say a little bit of my background in the sense of coming out of the system, coming through religion, being raised in a household that believed in monogamy, and pretty traditional Christian views and things like that, and then as well as education, and you should go to college, and being a doctor or lawyer is the best thing. It's prestigious. I want to be a healer. Pre-med doctor seemed like the right thing to do. Okay, then you go into it and find out whatever, nothing's what it is. You start having an awakening. You keep asking questions. They don't like it. And then you kind of wake up to reality that this is all a fucking simulation, it's bullshit, and they're creating all the problems. There's really no problems, because all of us at our true nature, and when you get so far out of whack on your own nature, eventually your spirit, your soul, your higher self will be like, yo, fuck all this shit. I'm out of here. This is dumb. And it could take years, okay? To get to you, what you call your purpose, or that thing that's like, this is you, and that's why, okay? That's something that, it's developed in time. You can't rush that. It's a process. It's a journey. It's nothing done right in 1 second. And so, not when you're coming from inside of it, when you're operating in time, not when all you've learned is about time and alarm clocks and go to school and go to bed and feed this and eat this many times a day. And when you shut all of that out and get into self and start to nurture self and seeing what you actually need, you're going to realize you need others. You're going to realize you need time freedom. You're going to realize you need mental health and peace. You're going to start to realize what you need, and then you have to realize that you are those things, and if they're not showing themselves, you're not fostering them. And so to create an environment to foster peace and inner balance and mental health and healthiness and being in tune with nature, to foster those things, you have to create an environment that allows for that. And for many of us, if you've gone through the journey of trying to maybe start your own career, become an entrepreneur, or figure out how to make money work for you and stop working for money, if you've journeyed any part of that journey, you found that doing it by yourself is exhausting and not efficient and not realistic to enjoying the process. So you actually have to enjoy the process first. Then the rest of it comes together. And this is where I bring it right back to polygyny. Enjoying the process now, okay? There are so many of you in polygynous situations. Let's just talk about it, okay? You're already in one. Your baby daddy got another baby mama. There's an example. Your boyfriend keeps cheating on you with the same bitch. There's another example. Or your ex keeps coming back and forth to you and another person, but y'all never date each other at the same time. Same example. I could go on. Make it work. Whatever your situation is, if it's dealing as a woman, dealing with a male that's dealing with anybody else besides you, that is you needing to come to terms with. Black men deal with women like, we like men who like women. Where has monogamy led us except for to liking men who like men as friends? We got the most gay friends on the planet, but the least monogamous like relationships, or like I say functional, like in nature functioning, like you guys can procreate type of relationships. Okay, not discriminating. We get in relationships for more than just procreating. Yes, I'm acknowledging that. But in this regard, when we're talking about efficiency and nature-wise and purpose-wise, we're talking about straight relationships in the sense that, and I'll get to that in polygyny as well, because being bisexual is not a requirement of polygyny. Not only is it not a requirement, it's not a part of original polygyny at all. So the sister wife thing doesn't come with, your sisters. Okay? Your sisters. That's your sister. Yeah. So, anyways, now that doesn't mean in 2021 that there aren't many poly gang type structures where, we're authentic to who we are. So if that is something in your nature that you're open to or whatever, just understand that everything has law, cause, and effect, and know what that's rooted out of, and know if that's rooted from some shadow work that needs to be done or not. So I'm going to leave it right there, because you have to think also, not only think, you need to learn. Also, again, the alpha man you want, what does he want? Now, he might say he's okay with certain things, but ultimately, is that natural for him? Or is it more natural for him to, basically, when we're talking about same-sex interactions, there's a misalignment of the masculine energy. Bring that into a polygynous situation, it's the same thing. Now you're kind of that makes that man less masculine because you're finding masculinity in another woman. Whole different discussion, right? So when we're talking straight polygyny, we're talking about one male operating with each female. Okay? So, benefits, right? All those things I mentioned that we need, the peace of mind, the time freedom to create, the just as being human in 2021 on this planet to get out of this fucking shit, right? The benefits far outweigh one-on-one relationships. See, on one-on-one relationships, you have to focus on that person. Okay? Now that doesn't change, but in polygyny, the key is in any relationship, you have to focus on you. And if you don't have time to focus on you, you're already going to fail. So in order not to fail, right, polygyny automatically frees you up in ways because you have times that you're alone. You have times that you're together. And you can do more with that. Okay? Because meeting the needs of a protector, provider, someone that requires helpers, okay, requires support, somebody who has a vision for an entire community, entire people, and maybe I need to do a video on alpha males. That'll probably help, because though polygyny is dope as fuck and seems bomb as fuck, and it is, every male is not qualified, period. And therein lies why most women have a problem with polygyny today, that do have a problem with it, is that they have not come across or encountered or know how to attract or look for the right kind of alpha male that could be successful at that. Also, the way it's introduced to that person, the age of that person, the background of that person or that male makes a difference to how successful he will be at polygyny. This is not something a 40-year-old man that's been cheating on his wife all his life could suddenly get right. It's just not in the cards for that person because you've practiced for so long in authenticity. So unfortunately, a lot of beta males will never get here. So this video is not for women looking or okay with beta males. You already know what it is you want and don't want. Okay? So, let's see. There's a lot that comes in about polygyny, that comes up, like jealousy, right? I really feel like jealousy is something you have to work on before you try to engage in a polygynous situation. The reasons that women tend to come across polygyny or get into it is usually wanting something open and authentic, truthful. Maybe they've been lied to. And this person is telling them, hey, I really do see other women, but I'm honest with her that I'm talking to you right now. She'd love to meet you. There's just a guard that kind of goes down a little bit when men are more honest. And, you know, and a lot of people who are dating talk to other people, but it's about how honest are you about that. And, you know, just what's your integrity level? You know, those who tend to not care what others think, or, you know, they have their own line of integrity and they don't easily let others compromise that, or tend to be the ones that are a little bit more apt or prone to be honest about who they are. Okay? Meaning, I don't care if you don't like it. This is me. I stand straight on this. And that's a masculine trait, an alpha male trait that is the kind of like, I don't want to say a first sign, but a sign, a good sign. Now, that male not only has to have, you know, and not be swayable, but he has to have a vision and a plan. And that vision and plan has to be larger than him. And it has to be big enough to house a woman's dreams. I'm going to repeat that because that's large. A man that is an alpha male has to not only have vision bigger than him, but also has to have space. It has to incorporate enough space for a woman's dreams. Okay, so when you are being a visionary, for this is if you're a male, okay, and you're being a visionary, whatever your goals are in life, they need to be huge as fuck, okay? And they need to be so big that hers get washed up, in a sense. Like, and you have to also believe in yourself that you can do it. If you don't, she'll know it. She will know it, okay? And so, ladies, I'm speaking kind of directly to males right now, but these are the things for you to look for, okay? Because this is thinking ahead for yourself. We like to be led, right? You can't lead somebody if you don't know anything. And you also can't know others if you don't know yourself. And this is why polygyny creates a space for you to learn yourself and for you to learn others and how you are with others and to constantly work on yourselves. Okay? So, jealousy, I mentioned, was something that you got to work on anyway. Monogamy or not. It's a difference when you're dealing with people who are integrous or honest or authentic and are open about their interactions. So they don't create jealousy places. They respect you enough to be truthful with you. You know? Now, how you handle truth, a lot of women don't want to know the truth, okay? I'm talking to my goddesses that are truth seekers, okay? I'm not talking to girls, little baby girls, that don't necessarily want to move into their womanhood, okay? That don't necessarily want to leave legacy. We're talking to the women who are goddesses, know their godliness, and are looking to build community. Okay, that's a big difference. Peace, everybody. Thank you for joining me. So purpose, that was another word, purpose. You know, this is a place for you to execute your purpose. You know, our purpose in life is not simply to raise children or simply to give birth or simply to be gawked at sexually our entire lives. God forbid. That's not your purpose here. You have many purposes, and you are to express all of your gifts that you can while you're here. And in order to do that, polygyny is a way and a place and a space that can help you foster your creativity, foster your gifts, because you have time, you have support, you have community. Guys, we suck at building community. We barely want to keep our families around. Okay, but if you're a starseed, if you're on a spiritual journey and you are attracting those of like mind and frequency to you and around you, why would you not want to live with them? Why would you not want to build with them? Why would you not want to raise children of a higher frequency together in village and in tribe? You do. In fact, this world has fucked us up so bad. Us Pluto and Scorpio generation that we are shifting and changing the way we live. Like Pluto and Sag is next. You think home life is going to be the same? No. We need each other. We've all been through shit, and we are no longer following the older generations back into the system. We have to build our own. You're either here for it or you're not. And you're scared. And you want to go get a job. And you hate that. Admit you hate that. I say, better to move towards the unknown and scary, and yeah, it could go horrible or it could go horribly right. The fact is, you don't know what you don't know. But what you do know that doesn't work for you, fucking let that shit go. And let's just face it, failed relationship after failed relationship is not working for you. Let that shit go. Okay, work on yourself. Build with those who are in like mind and like frequency. Fucking, we all need the same shit right now. We don't have time to be worried about certain things. Okay, this is about getting in alignment with why you're here. Now is now. Time is not real except for right now. What are you doing right now? Okay? So, let's see. It takes a village. That's right. Yes, this is going to help the guys and the girls, honestly. That's why I don't get jealous, because I'm a seeker of truth. Yeah, if I get jealous, I know it's because something in me is off balance. Yes. And so sometimes putting yourself in those scenarios and situations that could usually foster those feelings gives you an opportunity to say, hey, why would I be jealous in this scenario? Especially if you're in an open situation, everybody knows what it is, right? It helps you capture. It's like if you see how much you were programmed. You're like, damn, I don't own anybody, and no one owns you. But can you walk with integrity? Can you be responsible for your actions? Do you know what you need? The other place is communication. Almost every relationship fails based on communication. So as the leader of a polygynous situation, you have to master communication. Now, women, we communicate a little different than men, okay? We can talk through each other, over each other, under each other, and like still the emotion communicates. But in the logical world of males, communication has order. And so it's ordered by respect. Communication is ordered by respect. In the female world, they're a little bit more vicious and scrabbly and aggressive. Believe it or not, little girls are more aggressive than little boys. If you have children, you know what I'm saying is true. All right. And so I'm saying this because, guys, all of these things tie into a home life and a home situation built on truth and learning and the ability to learn from one another, to practice communication. Who are you going to practice communicating with if you can only talk to one person? How do you really know like you have a problem if you keep having the same problem with only one person? And you never really get to interact with other people, so you don't really know, am I tripping? Is this person tripping? So there's like a checks and balances with three or more. That even the Bible talks about where three or more are gathered, right? So it also helps with perspective, right? Seeing things from different perspectives, always having a third or fourth party, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, energy is energy, and it's like when all hands on deck agree to something, oh my gosh, you have girls, they're aggressive. Yeah. We're way more aggressive. So like our communication is like an emotional communication, and it's feisty, and it's like it's not too grounded or logical, and we don't always get anywhere. We just get in our feelings, maybe, right? Or we yell and then we feel better, and yeah. But men, they know that's not the mature way to do things, and so they don't communicate that way. They stick to the subject at hand, and they get the message across. And they leave all that tone shit out. You know, they don't read between the lines. They just give it to you direct and straight. Okay? And so this is about mastering divine feminine and masculine and understanding how they intertwine and work. And if you know the other and you know yourself, you'll work better with them, with each other, with yourself. You won't self-sabotage yourself. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Fairness. This is a good place for fairness. Learning to where you overindulge, where you need to pull back. It gives you more opportunities to put others first, to consider others as yourself. Okay. I will say mostly too, it creates inequality, like a humbled space for yourself to not make yourself bigger than you need to be. Because I feel like in monogamy, women I will say monogamous women can be more times than not more egotistical than a woman that's in polygyny. And here's the kicker. I probably had an old perspective or used to think like maybe a woman in a polygynous situation might be more docile. But really, it's by choice and wisdom, is what I came to learn. Because being in your power and having a say so and this, that, and the other is fantastic to a degree. But knowing you have that power and not having to exude it is mastery. So depending on your goals as an individual is depending on what will be your journey's growth. Okay, because for me, perfect expression, which is something I know I came to develop my character here, right? So perfect expression is a part of that for me. And this polygyny in general helps me foster that better than something I probably could easily run over, right? Something less tribe-based or community-based. Part of it is knowing myself. So me personally, I know I'm more team-oriented. I'm more community-oriented. I like people. I'm a people person. I like to be around people and interact with people. On a one-on-one, that could cause some problems, okay? Now, that brings me to the next thing, which is structure. So it's not just a space to where I can go off and be talkative and friendly with everybody. No. Means I could be friendly within my family or the space that safe space I've created, because knowing your own nature can also know cause and effect, what you attract, and how to mitigate for yourself. Like, so for me in that scenario, it's like, I know I like people, but I know in a relationship, that's not necessarily always going to be to my benefit or success of, working with another. Sorry. It just depends on that person. So in a polygynous situation, I have sister wives. I got girlfriends to talk to, hang out with, interact with, right? Now, then you say, well, what about other males and things like that? Well, this is where we talk about the maiden versus the mother. Okay, this is like the journey of womanhood. This is where now we're talking a little bit about women in general and how we progress naturally in life and in what's important and how we mature. Okay, so you got to know what you already need and want in a sense of like maturity wise. Now, if you're very young and you're still exploring, like maybe you do explore poly at a very young age first, or you explored monogamy first and then you want to try poly, things like that. The kicker is you're already at an age that won't stick. So it doesn't matter kind of what dynamic relationship that you try, you're at a try age. Okay, so depending on like your quickness of catching on to the things that we should all learn in our youth about love, and what temporary love is versus what true love is, what longevity and endurance and things like that. And as you grow and foster and add in patience for what you truly want and not settling and things like that, that's where those dynamics will stick. And where even as you get to those places, what we find is it's even harder for Black women to find that match of a monogamous person, because you're building such a character that you need a character match. And I'm just telling you, over here, your character match of the man that you're not settling for, he's also not going to settle for just you unless you alone. I mean, you don't even have no fucking desires or goals at that point. Like, you just are his for everything and anything, because an alpha male needs a lot and wants a lot because he's got, remember, huge ass fucking goals. So unless you're about to be his secretary, his like pipe down 24/7, his like peacemaker all the time, his cook, his cleaner, like where you gonna even find time to do the things that need to be done, even for your own mental sanity, for the type of energy that you even desire for yourself? Hell, you being truly in tune might need others to support and help you with some shit, okay? Especially if you decide to have children, things like that. So this is a combo to those of us that are in our godliness, those of us who have godlike energy that is to be explored and shared upon this planet for others. Not, I want to live a regular life with a picket fence. This is, I'm here to reach humanity. And so this is why I need the speed relationship scenario. And it's not a speed relationship scenario because anything you're entering into in maturity and growth comes longevity and endurance. And that is the key to the successful relationships, whether it be monogamous or polygyny. Now, there becomes blockages on this journey if you are of this energy or godliness, okay? If you are very in tune with who you are, then you can't settle for one person that isn't going to meet all your needs. And that's kind of across the board for all of us, right? But what do we do about it? At a point where you realize something is not enough, what do we do about it? That's a discussion of where, like, staying down for yourself, in a sense of not losing yourself, no matter what other people that you may be with go through or how they're showing up or not showing up. Like, you can't base your journey and what you have to give to the world on others. Okay, so this again is another fostering environment to have your needs met in many ways in a place where there's structure. So structure is the other word about polygyny that comes into mind. There has to be a structure. Okay, everybody has needs that have to be met. So you have to be considerate of everyone else. You have to be considerate of, your situation, your environment. When I say your situation, it's not just you. You see what I'm saying? When it comes to, it's just a lot more us consideration than me or we. It's us. And there's a lot of people when there's us. So what's efficient for us? What's efficient for everybody? Okay. There's aspects that go so deep in this, guys. I might have to make this a part 2 because it's like within now the structure of polygyny, you got to talk about alone time, privacy, togetherness, just the different structure of time with each other, with different people, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot to the structure of it. However, it's something that meets our basic needs that everybody needs in monogamy. Okay, so it blows that out the water. It blows that out the park. If you guys have questions, you can start putting the questions in here too, and I'll start answering those. Let's see. I'm gonna save this. Understanding. Relationships are about understanding. Okay. No matter what the dynamic is, it's about understanding. So kind of a key, if you have understanding, like once you and a man and a woman have understanding, you got something. So if you are operating and everybody doesn't have understanding, well, you're fostering and creating something that's going to fall apart. You are pretty much operating like a regular relationship. I'll do probably another part that focuses on like how our sons or men should prepare moms, if you're single moms or something like that and you're raising young black men in this system. Fostering and having the right type of masculine energy around is very important. So just like we protect our girls, we have to protect our men as well from their energy being compromised, their alpha energy as they are born being compromised. Okay, so this means having an alpha male around is crucial. The most alpha male on the planet right now would be a male that is building community and structure with other women, okay? Because today, having several men around with the overly sexualization of the planet and the energies, the water, the extra estrogen, and everything, like with all that going on, having two men around is like the equivalent of making two men one, like two subpar men making them one, okay? Having two alpha males don't hang out together, they just don't. So, right now, we have a shortage of alpha males, thereby we need more polygyny, okay, so that the sons that grow up around these men see the alpha nature of that male. If a man can't live in his truth, he a beta. We call that a bitch. Okay, if you can't live in your truth, you're a beta male. If you can't tell her what it is, tell her what you want, tell yourself what you want. If you can't say to yourself what you want, you're living as a beta. So, I also want to say that I'm very much specifically talking to women and parents of young boys, okay? Because a lot of us it's too late. I'm be honest, it's too late. The best you could do is live your truth now, but don't think that you can't, that there's not a pendulum. Like learning the universal laws, the pendulum swings. So if you spent the first half of your life being brutally docile or lying about everything, and now you just suddenly want to be brutally truthful, it's going to bite you in your ass. Like you're going to get laughed at, you're going to get slapped a few times. You got to make it through that, okay? So don't think you can just hear something like this and think all of a sudden you know what to do to be something that you're not. You are what you've been practicing. You are. Your best bet is to rectify and do the shadow work and self-work to face yourself before you try to build and face another goddess or black woman. She will become intuitive. She will see through that ass, okay? So that's a really important part of this message because we're not stupid and we're not going for it. You really have to be born with this energy and have had it protected. Really. If you're not tutoring and mentoring other boys or willing to help women with children, if you're not like living the shit and you just talk about that shit, you're bullshit, okay? And we know that. That's just what it is. So, so the men that are out there that already is kind of too late and you just think this is a great idea for polygyny, it is, but it's like you've already practiced being inauthentic. So you're never going to cultivate enough energy to, because women are so intuitive that they grow fast and they catch on quickly. And so it doesn't take long before the bullshit runs out. And that's why I say you had to have a vision for so long and so big that it was already in the works before the women you're supposed to have, they've already been prepared for you. Like we're talking about like kingship. And so that is a whole different, message to the men. But as for the women, that should just give you a taste of like the type of male you're looking for and how to get prepared for that type of alpha energy is another video I will do for the ladies specifically. So I guess I will gender this off from here. But primarily in this video, I wanted to express the benefits of having sister wives and, being able to raise your children together, the young males and boys being able to see a masculine single male being able to provide and protect for many, okay, and run businesses and everybody operating like you. Many of us did not get this opportunity to see things like this. And so that is a big part of, not knowing how to naturally do it anymore. So you have to, desire this and be really willing to kind of go through this stuff, but yeah, so this is for those trying to get out the Babylon system. You know, this is to get out the Babylon system. This is where you protect your finances, where you thrive in community, and there's enough people to learn what you need to know. Meaning, I might know about laws and things like that and ways to operate the law as a natural being. But everybody won't have time to sit down and learn those things because somebody does have to focus on finance, somebody needs to focus on food, somebody needs to focus on this and that and that and that and that. And so there's so much as individuals that we need or that they have us captive over. That's why they won't let us build and live together and marry more than one person, because it would basically drain their finance that they're getting from taxes of monogamy and marriage certificates and divorces and the money that they're making off of the system and insurance and, you know, beneficiary type things. So all of that would crumble the system. We would be self-reliant. We would not need assistance. We would have each other. But these are the tools and the keys of community building that has to come back. And if you don't get with that, you're going to stay in the system. Because one thing I can say about pulling out of the system is it's a lonely journey. And not only is it a lonely journey, it can be dangerous. Okay, yes, the unknown can be dangerous. But what you know is dangerous too. What you already know you're in is dangerous. The system is dangerous. It is destroying souls. It is taking people's souls. They are jabbing you up with graphite, things that they use on rocket ships that they know affects the melanin and tries to drive out the soul. So that they use for artificial intelligence. That's what it's used for. Artificial intelligence, graphite. Graphite something. I don't have the second word. But, you know, we're in dark times, end times, if you will. This is not a joke. You don't get too many real ones of us still out here because everybody's believing whatever and going with whatever and putting poisons in their body. So it starts with the mind, y'all. And polygyny is an environment to foster healthy mental awareness, thereby allowing the time and space for self-care, self-growth, and those are key factors to any healthy relationship. If you're not healthy for yourself, you can't be healthy for anybody else. And that's where support comes in. That's where working on yourself while being with others is crucial, because time does not exist. So if you stay in monogamy or single to work on yourself, then you are staying in a timeline reality where you first, then one more person, then us as a family, then and the next and next. And really, all is happening now. You need to work on you now. You need a whole community and tribe now. You need one-on-one interaction and intimacy now, okay? You need all of it right now. So don't play yourself. Don't short yourself. You know, look into something with structure. You should be going after something that has structure and something that has space for you. Okay, something that has space for you, your dreams, your gifts, and has solutions to practically share those gifts or get them out and foster them. So we need each other, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's helpful. Yeah, so I'll come back with more on a video for the males and then a video for the women, okay, on preparing for polygyny. Peace.